Hi, this is Darren Drew from D. Drew Guitars. I'm going to show you how to glue frets in that are already in. I've seen other videos on this, and the guys say that you just put a couple drops on each end of the fret and it wicks itself in. But when you have a fret that's that loose that you can move it with your finger, glue has to go all the way from end to end on it, otherwise it's not going to stay in. And so what I do is use I forget the name, use one of these and and it's full of thin super glue, put it here and just go all the way across the fret, and it can wick in, or it does wick in. So imagine, if you could, a valley, mountain ranges around it, and it rains on just both ends of the valley a very little bit. It's not going to fill up the valley full of glue. So imagine it rains on one whole side of the thing, torrential rains, tons of water. It's going to fill the valley up, in which the valley is the slot underneath the fret. And the concept is the glue isn't going to really adhere to the fret itself. It's going to fill in around it, around the tang, and harden, and then it will hold the fret in because it's surrounded the tang inside the slot. That's kind of the concept on it. So you need to get glue all the way across on it though. So this is the approach, and I make it look easy because I've done literally hundreds of thousands. And this is the way I go about it. And if they're super, super loose, you should be pressing it in and then hitting it with this accelerator. But this is like a new guitar, whatever. If they're not worn or battered, just not glued in from the factory, because America does not allow import guitars to be glued in, because the glue gives off a fume, so they say. So they don't want any frets glued in from any country. So none of them are glued in. So then, a lot of guitars have this problem. So I like to make mine come out to where I know that they're going to be in and stay in. It wicked came over to the other side really fast. There's only one downside to this approach, is you have to scrape it with the razor blade afterwards, in which that's a very difficult task. I always thought you should never use a razor blade on a fretboard, but in this case you really need to, and it takes a lot of practice to get it right without leaving razor blade marks. But I've had a ton of practice, but I'll tell you, it literally took me hundreds, if not thousands, of guitars gluing the frets in to get good at it. It's a very difficult thing to do. I'll show you in a minute my process, my way of doing it, in which, like I said, I've done thousands, so I have it down pretty well, but it took me a long time to get it. But I know the secret now, which I will tell you. Get this done first. And this is a pipette, by the way. Okay, and believe it or not, the glue is like water. It gets into the slot very quickly and very easily. Now I'll hit it with some accelerator, make it dry harden fast. Now the slot should be filled in with glue, and the fret shouldn't move anymore. Yeah, I'm not seeing any movement. Plus the glue fills in the gap underneath, makes it look better. I usually put like a sandbag over here to hold this in place. Get a new razor blade. Always want to use a new one. You want to be gentle but yet firm. You don't want it to jump over the fret, because it will scratch the razor blade actually, and it will make grooves in your fretboard then. And start at one side, work your way over to the other. Every time you go to a different part following the radius, you should pick the razor blade up instead of just going like this, because otherwise you'll make marks like this in it. You don't want that. But I found that all you need to do is go back 3 times. See, I made a razor blade mark in that one. Like I said, this took me lots of practice to get this down. Different woods behave differently by doing this. Different woods hold frets in better than other woods. This is very hard on your hands and fingers. Try and do it just nice and smooth. You know, like I said, it took me a lot of practice. I make it look very easy. It's actually not. So, depending on if you want to try this approach, but you know, you can leave the glue on there. If you have a maple fretboard, you might as well pull the frets out and do a fret job, because you're going to see the glue really bad on that. But if you're getting a lot of buzzing on your fretboard, up and down fretboard, check and see if you have loose frets. This is what you need to do, or have somebody do it. But from what I've seen, everybody just puts a couple drops on the ends, and that's not going to hold the fret down. I'll guarantee it. Kills your hands. And then once you're done doing this, you must level and polish, ground and polish your frets, because they're not going to be in there. They're going to have buzzes and stuff like that when they're loose. Now they're not loose. So I will show you how to do that in the next video. Anyway, subscribe, like. I have more videos for you guys to watch. This is Darren Drew. Thank you very much.